Welcome to the Sober and Happy podcast, where we talk about all things recovery related, how to navigate the challenges that we will face along the way on our journey towards our best lives, and how we can go from living a life of simply just being sober to a life where we're both sober and happy. In today's episode, I want to discuss the importance of having a plan for getting sober. We'll discuss what you should do before taking the last drink, give you the steps to get through that first 30 days, and how you could best set yourself up at the beginning of your sobriety to have long-term success. So buckle up. This is going to be a great episode. I made several attempts to get sober before it finally stuck. Most of them lasted only a few days, and once I made it to exactly 30 days once, I decided to celebrate that accomplishment with the 12-pack of beer. I want to discuss the difference between all those other attempts, what I learned from them, and how I did things differently this last time, which not only got me past the 30-day roadblock, but it also turned into 11 years of sobriety and counting. Much of the success of making it through the first 30 days actually starts before you take that last drink. The first thing you should do is consult a medical professional. Detoxing from alcohol can be deadly for some people, so it is important to see if you need to be medically detoxed and to come up with a plan with that physician that will physically set you up for the best chance of success. Once you have the plan in place with your physician, pick a date. I will share a lot of things to do before you get sober, but I find that people that do not set a quit date will often drag their feet in the planning stage and keep putting off what needs to be done, and as a result, will keep putting off getting sober. If you're anything like me, you have procrastinated at this moment for years or even decades, and it is time to circle a day on the calendar and stick to it. Once you set a date, you should spend that time between now and that date getting really solid on why you want to quit drinking. I've heard a lot in the recovery community that you must get sober for yourself, and I don't think at the beginning of recovery that it is that simple for most people. I know at the end of my drinking, I was not capable of getting sober for myself since I did not feel that I deserved it. I was stuck in such a dark place full of self-pity, shame, regret, and self-hate that I felt that I deserved the pain I was enduring in my alcoholism. I needed something that meant more to me. It is important to have a why that you feel in your heart, one that is so emotional that it can make you cry when you think about it. Knowing that why and really anchoring to it is critical for your success, not only to get through the first 30 days, but for lasting recovery. To find more information on how I discovered my why, how it set up my foundation of recovery, and how I now actually do stay sober for myself, check out episode 2 where I discuss it in detail. Now that you have your date picked and are clear on your why, sharing your plans to get sober with family and friends is essential. First, this adds another layer of accountability. I remember in many of my past attempts to get sober, I kept it to myself. I was afraid that I was going to fail and people would judge me. However, not telling anybody I was going to quit, I left the door wide open to giving in at the first craving or sign of adversity because no one would know. I made giving up very easy. On my final attempt, everybody knew I was going to get sober. I was heading off to rehab, so I did have to explain my upcoming disappearance, but letting people know helped me immensely. First, I found that many of my friends that I thought would not support me, including some of my heaviest drinking buddies, fully supported me quitting. I was honestly surprised that as bad as most of them were in their own addictions, a few of them looked at me and said, "Yeah, dude, you really do need to quit drinking." They knew they were losing a drinking buddy, but I think they were happy that someone was finally escaping the painful life of alcoholism that we were all stuck in. A second reason why it's important is it decreased the amount of, "Hey, let's go have a drink," invitations that I got once I got out of rehab. And when some people still insisted on inviting me to drink, it really separated the people who wanted to see me succeed and the ones that prioritized my drinking with them over what was important to me. So how do we have these conversations with people that we're going to quit drinking? The first key is sharing with them why it is important to us. Be open and honest about how it is affecting your life, the life that you want to lead, and how you know alcohol is blocking you from that best life. This is also where it is important to set boundaries with the people in your life around your new sobriety. If you have a spouse who drinks, you should have a discussion now about how you're going to handle your new sobriety. Are they quitting with you? Are they going to have alcohol in the house? Are they still going to want to go out for drinks and expect you to come with them? These are the questions that should be talked about before you get sober so that they do not lead to arguments at the beginning of your sobriety. Talk to your friends and family members and ask them for their support. When asking for support, it is important to explain to them exactly how you need to be supported. If you skip this conversation, then they are going to support you the way that they feel is best and not the way that is most supportive to you. Lack of communication in this area and not being completely clear that you want their support and how best to do it will cause conflict in your recovery. Tell them how important their friendship and support is to you. It is important to remove as much stress as possible. The beginning of sobriety is not the time to try to battle through added stress. If you have a high-stress job, see if you could take some time off, even if it is just taking a week of vacation. In that first week, not only will you be dealing with the physical aspects of withdrawal, but you also will be experiencing mood swings, irritability, trouble sleeping, and your motivation level will likely be very low. Adding on the stress of work on top of this will likely decrease your challenges of success. Plus, save your coworkers the hassle of dealing with the mood swings that come with the first week of getting sober. If you have shows on Netflix you've been wanting to binge watch, this might just be the excuse you need to take a week off work and catch up on them. Now that we have taken the steps to prepare, welcome to day one of your new life. I want to tell you that everything up to this point is your past, and you are not your past. If you have tried to quit in the past and failed, that does not affect your chances of success this time. Our past should only be a tool for us to learn and grow from, and today you begin what likely will be the biggest growth spurt of your life. You have the choice of what your future is going to be, so don't hold back on chasing your best life and the dreams that have been on hold up to this point. You could absolutely succeed with the right mindset and the right plan. I want to give you a few more tips that will set you up for success for the next 30 days and beyond. If this is not your first attempt at sobriety, look at your past attempts and see what you could learn from them. So many times when people relapse, they throw out the entire experience with a statement like, well, 30 days down the drain. These past attempts hold so much useful information that if used properly can increase our chances of success this time. Look at what went wrong and plan accordingly to not repeat the same thing. One of my favorite sayings is, nothing changes if nothing changes, and that cannot be more true than in recovery. It is important to not plan any stressful events during this time. It probably isn't the time to take on new projects or plan that family trip to Disneyland and surround yourself with crying kids and stressed out parents. If you have a family where get-togethers are often full of debates and drama, it might be a good time to take a rain check on that invite for a weekend camping trip with them. Not all stress can be avoided in this period, and it is important to start learning how to handle stress in healthy ways. However, in the first 30 days of your sobriety, it is best to avoid intentionally putting yourself in situations that you know can cause stress whenever possible. Use this time to start educating yourself about alcoholism and what you could expect in recovery. When we are going through something difficult and we don't know why, it'll only add to the stress, anxiety, and confusion of the experience. Being informed about what we are going through and how to best manage it can greatly reduce the negative feelings associated with it. I experienced severe symptoms of post-acute withdrawal syndrome, or PAWS, for much of my first year of my sobriety. I struggled with focus, memory issues, panic attack levels of anxiety, and I was so sensitive to stress that I actually would have motor coordination issues at high times of stress. I had absolutely no idea what I was going through. I thought I was broken forever, And the thought, is sobriety even worth it if I'm broken, began creeping into my head. Finally, after deciding to start seeing a therapist, she explained to me what I was going through and gave me tools that I could use to help manage the symptoms when they appeared. The tools helped a lot, but honestly, just understanding why I was going through it and that it was not going to last forever provided me the most relief. So take the time to really immerse yourself in learning about yourself. We're at such a great age for self-education. Listen to podcasts. I suggest binging mine first, of course. Watch YouTube videos, read blogs, and buy books. They don't have to only be recovery related. If you're struggling with something, don't avoid it. Learn about why you're struggling and start healing from it. Within the first 30 days, I would suggest creating your roadmap to success. When we just have a milestone for achievement like reaching 30 days, it often sets us up for letting off the gas and slipping into cruise control once we achieve that. People who just wander around in their new life of recovery with no purpose or plan often get lost. I want you to have a clear idea of where you want your life to go. Once you know that, set the GPS to that location. When you know where you're headed in your goals, if you stay focused, just like a GPS system in your car, when you get off track, it'll always reroute you back on track. I cover my process for doing this in detail in episode 17, so check it out if you haven't already. Don't forget to celebrate the small victories. It doesn't matter if you move only an inch as long as you're moving in the right direction. Not moving is where the problem is. You can't steer a parked car, so having a roadmap to success doesn't help us get to our destination unless we're moving. If you could only take one small step today towards where you want to be, at least take that one small step and celebrate that you did that. One of the biggest complaints I hear from people early in recovery is that sobriety is boring, so plan things to fill your time. This was a story I was telling myself for quite some time until a friend pointed out that if I needed alcohol just to have fun, it was actually me that was boring, not sobriety. After I got done having my feelings hurt, I looked at it as a good opportunity to find activities that I found fun. When our spare time is usually filled with drinking, we have to find other things to fill that time. Start with things you always said you wanted to try someday. Try things that you aren't even sure you'll like. You might surprise yourself and find new things you like, and in the process find out that not only is sobriety not boring, but like me, you might find that you are not boring too. Anything that is also healthy for your body is a bonus. Going to the gym, doing yoga, hiking, riding a bike, or just taking morning walks around the block can be great. This can also be a great opportunity to include family or friends that you might have neglected while you're drinking. Playing with your kids outside, taking a hike with your friends, or taking an evening walk with your spouse not only will help you fill that time, but can also begin the healing process for all involved in this journey with us. And most importantly, don't do anything that you know can screw it up. This isn't the time to call your toxic ex because you're feeling lonely. This isn't the time to test if you could be around alcohol by going to karaoke night at a bar with your friends. This isn't the time to spend your nights on social media picking fights with random strangers about their posts or comments. This isn't the time to make a drastic life change. Quitting drinking is already a big enough life change for the first 30 days. It can be challenging enough to get through the first 30 days when you're doing everything right. So don't make it even more difficult by sabotaging yourself. Keep focused, keep on track, practice discipline, and I know you could get through not only the first 30 days, but you could turn days into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. Your future is bright, so now step into it. Thank you for listening, and I'm hoping you're enjoying my podcast. If you're finding it impactful, all I ask is that you please share it so it can impact others. New episodes come out each Friday, so I look forward to connecting with you next week. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and keep living sober and happy.